getting everything together. Thank you for joining me. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of information, a lot of news happening, people quitting, reneging, hiring, not hiring, thought I was going to hire, but I'm not. It's kind of crazy. So we thought the livest one. I hear you, Martian. Thank you. It's so we lost Carl Scott. That was the big news today. Um, he decided to stay with Seattle, right? And so that's the second time we've had that in so many days because what is that? Ben Johnson was supposed to sign with Washington, and he reneged. So it's kind of like been happening. So I don't know what the deal is. What's up, Chrome? I am having a good week. Was kind of under the weather yesterday, but back at it. What's up, Vince? What's up, my guy? Yeah, man. I thought I was having coffee withdrawals yesterday because I ran out of coffee over the weekend and just hadn't gone and got any new coffee. So I hadn't had coffee since like Sunday. So I'm a regular I don't drink a lot of coffee, but I'll probably have a cup every morning. And I hadn't had one. And yesterday my head was banging, and I was like, man, I must need some coffee. But I was like, if this is what's happening, when I don't drink coffee, that's a problem. So but it turned out to be a little bit more than coffee withdrawal. I was straight up sick. So, but we are good today. Mike, you agree with the poll? You think Sirianni's going to be a good coach, good CEO coach? What is a CEO coach? That seems to be the buzzword of the last few weeks, being a CEO coach, running the team. Listen, to me, in my opinion, that is not a bad thing. Not at all. Because you can always find an example when a coach is doing too much, when he's getting overwhelmed, when he's not paying attention. Look at Dan Campbell with what he did the other day when he had opportunities to slow the game down or even go for the win and didn't. Now, I know that was just the way he does things, but somebody should have been in his ears like, hey, you got to watch out for this. We got to do timeout. Towards the end of the game where he ran the ball and wasted that time on the clock, maybe he could have been doing something different, or maybe somebody should have tapped him on the shoulder to remind him of the time situation. I don't know. But sometimes you can get overwhelmed, whether you are a good coach or not. Everybody has some situations where they just got too much on their plate and you miss little things. That's why you have all of these guys on your coaching staff. That's why you pay them. That's exactly why you pay them. And that's why you see in a situation like Sirianni last year or in 21 when he gave up the play calling, and you see the difference. You got to recognize what you have in the room. You got to recognize the personnel that you have and what they can do, and you got to be able to trust what they can do. That's why I'm so Vic Fangio wasn't my first choice as DC, but I'm glad they got him. I'm glad they got an old grizzled vet that's going to come in there and not just push Sirianni to the side, but you got to have somebody on the squad that has the respect to where Sirianni's going to think twice about, I'm sure he's got it. I better have a good reason to interrupt what he's doing. You got to have somebody with the experience and the cachet that can do that. Kellen Moore, on the other hand, is younger than Sirianni. So you got an age difference that causes like this mental dynamic. It's almost like when you go to work and your boss is younger than you. You've been through more life experience than that person. You don't know why that person got the job. Maybe they can do the job. Maybe it's nepotism. Maybe it's favoritism. Maybe their granddaddy owned the company. You never know. Especially when you talking about the NFL, that's an old boys league anyway. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out with Kellen Moore, because they are both young coaches. Now, I'm of the opinion that Nick Sirianni will be a better coach as a CEO coach. What's the difference between that and what he was doing last year? He's still going to be involved. He's still going to have his say. There's not going to be a head coach that's not going to be in that situation, especially if anytime you call yourself a head coach and you're going to catch all the strays and you have no say so, ain't nobody going for that. Regardless of what he may have agreed to with Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman, you're still going to have some say in what's going on. Now, having said that, when you look at what happened this past season, a couple weeks ago, he's still going to have that say. But when he was looking at Brian Johnson and when he was looking at the offense, here's my question. You had Brian Johnson on the roster since 21, right? So you've had 2 years to watch him. So you knew without a shadow of a doubt what you had in Brian Johnson. You knew his familiarity with the offense. What's up, Brian Daly? You knew all of that. And for Brian Johnson to put that product on the field, it was problematic. We realized it was problematic when we got to game like week 4 and 5. Like, why are we struggling with these bad teams? Washington taking us to the wire. The Giants taking us to the wire. We lose to the Jets. And it kept building, but we were squeaking by. So nobody really wanted to, we're going to get it together. Eventually, we're going to get it together. Eventually, never came. So with Sirianni's experience, and he did have some experience, why couldn't he see what was going on with the offense? That is my question. It could not have been all on Brian Johnson. So did they have him in the box and what he could call? Like, that's the dynamic that I want to uncover. That's what I want to know. Where was all of this stuff coming from? Because any coach worth their salt should have been able to see what our issues were on offense. We didn't run the ball, and we didn't throw the ball across the middle. Now, you can blame some of it on Jalen Hurts. I'm sure he was making some stuff up and calling some audibles on the line. But guess what? He wasn't calling them all them damn bubble screens. I think it was either 2 or 3 of his interceptions were tipped ball, were deflections off of screen passes. Because it seemed like every time we ran those 2 running back screens to the right, both of them got deflected. The one was a pick against the Jets. And then there was another one. There was a third one that didn't get picked off, but there was, I think 2 of them got picked off when they were trying to run the screens. And that wasn't nothing but film study and recognizing what was coming. And that gets back into the argument about how much creativity we had in our offense. They were saying it all on ESPN, on Fox, Colin Cowherd. Everybody was saying the same thing. How come the people in the building couldn't figure it out? That's the question I want to ask. Because that's what it seems like. If everybody else is seeing this, what is the tangible solution? It can't be that complicated because the playbook is thick. So that's what I want to know as far as, what was going on as far as coaching. But the reality is that's water under the dam right now. Greg, you agreed to the poll too? So, I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever get the answers to those questions. You know what I mean? I hope we do. But that might be one of those things where we don't find out until like maybe next year when Brian Johnson is somewhere else and doing a good job. Sean decides somewhere else doing a good job, if that's the case, then we're going to start to wonder and ask some questions. But as for right now, it is what it is. Vince says, do you think Sirianni and the team are afraid to anger Hurts by calling him out on audibles and disagreements with Johnson since he is the franchise quarterback? Absolutely not. And the reason why I say that is you can go back and you can look at some of the stuff when he was in college. Dude, he was coached by Saban, bro. Saban don't mince words for nobody. Saban benched him. And from the stories that I've read, his dad was even worse. You got to remember, Jalen was the one that told Sirianni, like, hey, you can coach me hard. Jalen had to tell him that. So I don't think they're worried about that at all. And if they are, that's the wrong thing to worry about, because just like I thought, I was hoping that somehow, some way we would get hooked up with Eric Bieniemy, because Eric Bieniemy, at least in my interpretation, has that no nonsense, demanding coach style that Jalen was brought up with. And I think he would have responded to that. I don't know what the personalities are you going to have with Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore, does he strike you as somebody that's going to come out and is demanding and is, quite honestly, Kellen Moore still got the baby face. So it's weird how the physical appearance can make a difference. Because when we hired Clint Hurt, everybody says the same thing. Yo, put him back on the line. Yo, this dude is no joke. He's impressive. He's intimidating because of his sheer size. And that's just, you don't know if he can coach. That's all based on his appearance. But the reason I'm saying that is because you look at Kellen Moore has a baby face. He doesn't look like, he looked like he could still be playing in the league. He just has a young look about him. He's what, 37? So technically he could be. I mean, look at Flacco. So yeah, he could be playing in the league. But my point is that you gotta, when you're still young and you are coaching people that are your age, sometimes that could be a mental hurdle that players have to get over, especially when it comes to the point where somebody's going to have to give out some discipline or have some hard conversations. There's a mental mind game with that, especially when you're talking about people that make more than you do or have been doing it longer than you. That is a mental hurdle. Because the first thing you think of is if you got to deal with somebody that's in power over you that might be a few years younger than you, the first thing you go to is, man, I've been doing this longer than you have. That's the go-to. I was doing this when you was in diapers. Stop playing with me. So that's the dynamic. And I am sure Kellen Moore has heard this before. And he's been in this situation before, especially down in Dallas. Because you had some vets on that team. So I think he can get through it, no question. But that's an us problem. The Eagles have to get used to him and his cadence and his face and everything that comes with that. Now, the one thing that gets over all of those questions is how you play. If you coming in and you calling an offense and you just confusing everybody and we running up and down the field, all them questions get blown out the water, because immediately this guy knows what the hell is he doing. And that's all you need. So I think he'll be good. Now the big question is, what are we going to do? What's going to happen? What gaps do we fill on offense? We don't have many. You already know they're going to draft the offensive lineman. Some way, shape, or form, they're going to draft another offensive lineman. We can all cry, bitch, and moan about getting a linebacker, But Howie's probably going to address that in free agency. I will be very, very surprised if Howie drafts a linebacker. I hope he does, but I will be making one of them videos where people falling out of the chair if Howie makes that decision. I would absolutely love it. I just don't see it happening. Everybody's down at the senior games, the Shrine Bowl, the Senior Bowl, all of this stuff, and they're looking at all these players and everybody's drooling at the mouth. This guy can be great. This guy can be great. And at the end of the day, it's like, you don't know. You just don't know, and you're not going to find out by some kids running one-on-one drills at practice. You're not going to do that. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. So we'll see it. We'll see it. Oh, man, I got my text wrong. Daggone it. But in any case, now the Fangio thing is interesting to me because of all of the stuff that came out down in Miami, right? They didn't like him. And, you gotta take it with a grain of salt if Drew Rosenhaus is your source. He gonna take it. If his clients are bitching to him, what is he gonna do? He gonna listen to him and keep cashing them checks. So that's an unreliable source, in my opinion. He's sitting on the couch complaining that some of the guys didn't like Vic Fangio. Are you kidding me? You're a damn professional athlete, man. Coaches are not coming down there to be your friends. And how are they going to complain when Fangio had them as the number 10 defense? What's the problem? People looking for something to bitch about if it don't go their way. And you know what? Miami, they can bitch all they want. They watch it from home just like us. They had the opportunity. They thought they had a squad. They thought they were going to do something in the playoffs. Sitting home just like everybody else. Wondering what if and wondering what they should do next. So don't complain about who your coach is and he giving you some tough love. That's what coaches are paid to do. Especially with what he's doing is getting results. That's the funny part. The defense was playing well. The tough games that Miami lost was because the defense played well enough to win, but the offense didn't show up both times. When they played in Germany, it was the same thing when they played in the cold. The defense, in my opinion, played well enough to win. The offense didn't show up. That track meet that was Tyreek Hill and Waddle and Achane, the running back, all of them. When it was warm and the environment was perfect, they went to work. When they get a little adversity or the conditions aren't right, it's good until it ain't. So they can't, I don't want to hear no complaining coming from Miami, man. Y'all had your shot. You had your shot. And it was the same thing. I remember when we played Miami, I jumped on some groups, some chat groups and some X groups. And the one thing about Miami was the same all across the league. They're not a physical team. And that's what came, just like with us, we couldn't tackle. And everybody knew it. Everybody knew what the situation was with Miami, and it was shown to be true. We couldn't tackle to save our life. I am very curious to see how Vic Fangio is going to change that. How Clint Hurd is going to change that. And you know what? Haven't heard anything from Tracy Rocker. I thought that was interesting. Haven't really heard anything from Tracy Rocker at all. And I thought Tracy Rocker was a good coach. Because, didn't nobody have a problem with him in 22? When that defensive line was going nuts. And then, again, I keep using that phrase, it was good until it wasn't. Like, what happened? Cool with Fangio, but looking like we could have had Vrabel. I don't think we pursued Vrabel. I didn't think we were going to get Vrabel, and I know all of the news is coming out that we were interested in Bill Belichick. I didn't think we were going to get Bill Belichick at all because I could not see Howie Roseman making that mistake again, where he's gonna get pushed to the side as being a GM, because Belichick wants to make his own decisions. Now, it could be a situation because we don't know what's going to happen next year. Because let's be honest, if 2024 NFL season doesn't go as planned, if we don't at least get back to the playoffs, I think Sirianni, that might be his last year. So I can see Belichick waiting a year if that is true. But honestly, I think Sirianni is in a good spot. And I'm saying that, I know he's kind of on the hot seat, but I'm saying it from the standpoint of he knows exactly what he needs to do, and there is no misunderstanding. There is no misunderstanding that if things don't go the way they should go, he might be out the door. But the reality of that situation is, and we put it to the forefront now, Eagles fans, we're putting it to the forefront now. But the reality is, you can say that about any team and any coach. Anything can happen. Stuff like that happens every year, and even this year, we fired 3 coordinators got fired this year mid-season. That's never happened before, as long as I've been watching. 3 coordinators get fired mid-year. Josh Allen got the coordinator in Buffalo tanked. Like, I want to know, like, what happened, because that coordinator wasn't throwing all of them picks and putting the ball on the ground. That was Josh Allen's fault. The game before he got fired, Josh Allen threw like 2 picks and fumbled. He had like 3 turnovers that game. Do they practice that during the week? So there's some bad play in there somewhere. So I know they gotta, make an example, but that gone. So Rob Povia, late to the limo. It's all good, man. There's always room to ride, bro. I appreciate you. I think when Vrabel first became available, and we got axed the way we did, Vrabel would have been my first choice rather than Belichick. Easily. Because I think Vrabel's Vrabel would vibe more with the guys we got in the locker room. He's that type of dude. Especially where former players, especially with everything Dan Campbell did, that's in vogue now. Everybody's looking for the former players. Kellen Moore, he'll be a head coach before too long. So that's what the popular thing is now. But I could have seen Vrabel, but we didn't make it happen. Maybe he wanted too much control, like Belichick would want it. And Howie's not going through that. And I'm good with that, because you know what? Howie's got a pretty good record. His batting average is high when it comes to the draft picks. This was the first year we kind of whiffed on some draft picks. And just to continue using the baseball analogies, we didn't whiff. He didn't strike out. He just popped out. Deep fly balls. Because we got Cunningham, and we were kind of question marked. And then we got Nicholas Moreau, and we were like, what the hell are we doing? And then the first half of the year, they played solid. It wasn't great. It wasn't Pro Bowl level, but they had solid, competent play. Especially I'll say it again. When Cunningham and Moreau were playing together, this was after Nakobe Dean went down the first time. When they were playing together, they were getting it done. And then all of a sudden, when Dean came back, it just stopped. And it got worse. I don't mind Zach Cunningham. I think he played relatively well. But heck, we don't bring good linebackers back. We didn't bring Kaiser White back. We didn't bring TJ Edwards back, and both of them had great years last year. So what are we gonna do with an average at best linebacking core? So a single RBI. Well, because look at it. So let's say he batting 300 for the defense. Because like I said, the defense, we were good until we weren't, especially a linebacker. But we did get he did bring DeAndre Swift in, 1,000-yard performer. So his batting average, Howie's batting averages overall is pretty good. He tried to fill some gaps. Kind of popped out with Kevin Byard. Kind of popped out with Roby. We never got anything from it. So, we got to get some depth. I wish we could have played Keely Ringo a little bit earlier, things like that. But that's just not the way it worked out, man. So, that's the way it goes sometimes, and ain't really much you can do about it. So you just got to keep it moving. And hopefully you can find good replacements. And this year we did not. We got burned for it. So, all right, let's hit this first ad. We're going to hit the Royal Billiards. How come I can't talk? Hold tight.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, proudly celebrating 40 years and our new, bigger showroom.
Twice the size and twice the fun.
More pool tables by Olhausen. More dartboard sets, including custom reclaimed backboards. More bar and kitchen stools that can change a room.
And more bars, including pre-built and custom.
Hot tubs, skee ball, shuffleboard, outdoor,
and fun.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, your ultimate game room store. Now located on Bethlehem Pike in Colmar.
Oh my God, let me check out the chat. Chat went crazy for a minute. Hold tight. Late to the limo. Darius Leonard Shaq Leonard was a bunt. Definitely a bunt. And yeah, he got thrown out at first. Not time for Hat John yet, man. Hold tight. Yeah, Pete. They beat our brains in, Bootney. It was not good. We tried. I like getting Kevin Byard, and I thought that was a good fit, especially bringing him in with AJ, somebody he knew. However, was that because that he just wasn't playing up to par anymore, or was that because the defense was god awful? Was that a Desai Patricia thing, or was it Kevin Byard has nothing left in the tank? That's an interesting question. So I don't know if Kevin Byard can't play anymore. I don't know that, because that defense was god awful. I think we would have been better off just keeping Sean Desai and just letting them roll to the end of the year. I stand by that, because they shouldn't have pulled the rug underneath Desai like that. Desai had good games on defense. We just, for whatever reason, we could not put a whole game together where we dominated the team from start to finish. We could not do that. But I remember the Rams. I remember the Chiefs. I remember Miami, what we did to them, and the adjustments he made on defense. And we came out and basically shut them down in the second half. We had good games like that. So I never understood why Desai had to be the scapegoat. And the only reason you was going to think that was because you thought bringing Matt Patricia in, we were going to do a complete 180. And I don't understand that train of thought. But it is what it is, man. Yeah, defense was so bad. 2 coordinators got fired. Absolutely. Only in Philadelphia will we have something like that. Only in Philly, man. So that's kind of crazy. Howie's MO is to make the splash move at or near the draft. What position do you think he makes the big move at? Linebacker, safety, cornerback, or elsewhere? Is Trotter Jr. in play? I do think Trotter Jr. is in play, but we missed on Kyle Hamilton. That was very hot. I believe he was trending during the game. And I didn't mind picking Jordan Davis, because my thing is, like, if we did have Kyle Hamilton here, would he have been the same type of player in this defense? Matter of fact, would they have let him play? You saw what they did to Sidney Brown. They didn't put him in the fire right away. So a lot of times we want to look at what's going on another team, but it may not have gone down like that if here in Philadelphia. It would have been different. It definitely would have been different. I remember during the year when we were talking about, should we go after King Henry, make a trade for King Henry? And I'm like, why? We don't use the running backs we got now. So even if we did have a big back in here, we didn't use them. We had one on the roster and they cut him. They let him go. If you want to we could have been putting Trey Sermons in there just for play action. Or just for pass protection. But we didn't do it. We didn't do it. So what you saying, John? I'll agree with you. Poll, he's a player coach and getting some veterans and coordinator will work there. I agree. But I wonder if they will have to operate under Nick's books. No. They made that quite clear. He made that quite clear when he kept saying fresh ideas. Because the one thing I was curious about, he said this a couple times where they kept saying about the offense being stale. But before that, he said that this was the same offense that Steichen was running. So to me, that means the offense ain't stale. That means somebody ain't following the recipe. That's what that means. You're cooking it wrong. You try to add something to the macaroni and cheese, you shouldn't have added it. Don't be changing stuff up when you about to serve dinner. So I don't think I think they're going to bring their own books. That's why they hired them. And I think that will be better for the Eagles. Because honestly, I don't want whatever, because you can't say it didn't work. Because when Steichen was here, we were running on all cylinders. Now, granted, things were looking a little bit different because we weren't running like we did the previous year because Jalen was hurt after week 4. But you got to have another answer if that happens. You got to have a plan B and C. And we had a plan B. His name was DeAndre Swift. And we didn't use him right, in my opinion. Why do we have to wait until, I don't know, week 12, 13 before we started pitching him outside? And then when we did pitch him outside, we didn't do it often. We didn't set up play action at all. I hate running play action out of gun formation. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. You need to run play action when the quarterback is under center or at worst in pistol formation. You can't run play action out of gun. It just doesn't work. Because all the defense has to do is tee off on the quarterback. Make them hand off, and then you got a running back that's going east and west. And that's no bueno. You always want to go north and south as a running back. So, hopefully, with what Kellen Moore did with the Cowboys, let me see. Hold on for a second. This is really bothering me. Scrolling the text. This is bothering me. Hold on for a second. Eagles OC. That's better. There we go. Yeah, that looks better. But yeah, man, I don't know what they're gonna do. What was I saying? Oh, hold on for a second. So, Kellen Moore started calling the offense for Dallas in 2019, I believe. So in 2019, Dallas was ranked 6th, top 10, ranked 6th in offense. In 2020, 2020, they dropped. Dallas was ranked 18th, tied with LA Chargers. 18th. So that's middle of the pack. 2021. Dallas was number one. So you got 2 top 10 finishes in a Kellen Moore offense. And let's go to 2022. Dallas was 4th. So now you got 3 top 10 finishes. And heck, that's 2 top 5s. So last year in San Diego, but San Diego did have a lot of injuries. But even with that, the Chargers were 21st. So it's not like Kellen Moore don't know what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? So adding raisins to the potato salad. Oh my God. David Rosca, what up? That was funny, Marsha. That was hilarious, bro. Do I think the D-line coach was a good pickup? He's got more talent here, but I don't remember seeing Seattle being great up front. Not horrible either. Funny you say that, because I've been watching. How do I get rid of this? I don't know what just happened. I saw a couple of interviews with him, and I like his attitude. I like his demeanor, and I think he's a good dude. What the heck did I just do, man? See, I've been trying to do this stuff on the fly, and it don't work. There we go. What did I just do? Lower thirds, cutouts. Lost my tags. That's the tag. You got that. I don't know. I'm sorry. What the heck I just did? I'm gonna leave it alone. Because I had a thing of shouldn't be AJ Brown, I should be Clint Hurt. But I got screwed up. But it's all good. But in any case, I do like Clint Hurt. I do think he's a good coach. But you got to remember, Seattle was worse than us on defense. They had bad tackling. They were ranked 30th, and we were ranked 26th. So I still think he's a good hire. I still think he's a good coach. And I think he's the right guy. And I think he'll match this team. Like, his demeanor is like what I like. He's not a no nonsense guy, but he strikes me as somebody who knows when to bring the noise. You know what I'm saying? So I'm okay with that. And it could be a situation where you just need a new environment and you go from there. So I do like Clint Hurt as a new defensive line coach. I think he'll fit in here. I think he can speak the language, so I'm very happy with that, very confident with that. So I'm good. So for Big Dom, yeah, I've been hearing that a lot. Big Dom and Clint Hurt gonna have a wrestling match. Those are 2 big dudes, man. You know they're gonna put them together somehow. They're gonna have them out eating pasta or something like that. That's a photo op that you just can't mix. You got to go with that. So I can't wait to see that too. So, all right, we're going to hit Carlino's on the hat, John, real quick. Be right back.
In our family, food is our daily bond. My nonna, affectionately called Mama by many, found solace and joy in the kitchen, sharing her love through delicious creations. She turned her culinary passion into a flourishing business alongside her husband and sons in 1983. Celebrating 40 years is a testament to our exceptional team, friends, family, and beloved customers. With gratitude, we look forward to the future, expanding our brand to share the highest quality Italian food and wine nationwide. Our heartfelt thanks to everyone who has played a part in our story. Grazie mille.
Hats.com is the premier destination for quality and fashion-forward hats and more, with designs for every style and trend. Locally based and run by Philly sports team fanatics, Hats.com can help you elevate your hat john. Utilize the easy-to-use guides at Hats.com to find your perfect size and style, and shipping and returns are free. Hats.com. Find yourself in a hat. Use code Philly for 15% off your order. Hats.com.
What else did I have? It was another question I wanted to ask. Let me see. Yeah, saw the AJ Brown. Oh, that's what happened. They got mixed up. So, the AJ Brown rumors, the trade rumors. Now, this is a situation where somebody takes a story or here's a piece of information or something they saw on social media and they run with it. Nobody ever said that AJ Brown was getting traded. I think somebody may have said that or may have suggested it on the radio. Somehow, some way, shape, or form, it took off, right? And I saw where Kay Adams asked AJ about this on her show, and he was like, he just kind of brushed it off. And then everybody got mad because, he didn't say it wasn't true. He didn't do this. And I'm like, man, if y'all didn't learn anything from all of that nonsense about the locker room being split and AJ being a diva and all of that kind of stuff, if nobody learned anything from that, man, you're not going to learn nothing, period. He's not going to give anything like that up. He's actively trying to avoid. You can tell the only thing that saved that interview with Kay Adams, and I love Kay Adams, the only thing that saved that interview was that him and Devontae Smith was on there at the same time. So they were kind of bouncing off each other, having a good time. It was clear that they wasn't trying to, it was clear he wasn't trying to say anything that was going to start a fire. That's what he was trying to do. He was trying to keep it vanilla. He didn't want to set off any fireworks, but she trying to do her job and probe and question. And, the one thing that kind of irritates me, but I understand that's the point of the show, is when you're reading questions and comments off of social media, because that's where the problem starts in the first place. So I just thought it was crazy that all of these rumors came up, and people people started running with that. And that's the problem with social media. You tell somebody one thing, and then they want to figure out how many different ways that can happen or not happen, or telling the truth. And at the end of the day, it's like, you don't know. Like, stop it. You have no idea, no clue. And somebody put that out there, and I've been guilty of this once or twice this season. Was like, you see something and you see who it came from, and then you grab it and then you run with it. You grab it and you run with it, and then somebody comes back and is like, oh, hold up. We had that earlier with the Diana Ruzzini story. Then we had it again with the Jalen is unapproachable, and Britton Covey had to come out. How many people came out to that night and started commenting on it that night before Britton Covey came out the next day? Because them people that immediately jumped on social media and started responding to it looked stupid. Because like I told you guys, like, listen, when somebody says sources close to a situation have reported, you might as well just say, I heard. Guess what I heard? That's what it sounds like. In my mind, when you hear a reporter or beat reporter or somebody, even on social media now, when somebody says sources close to the situation, to me, that is no different than somebody saying, girl, guess what I heard? Man, let me tell you something. It's nonsense, because you can't pin down the source. If you don't think for 1 minute, like Adam Schefter and all of these guys, why do you think they're sitting by their phones? They didn't discover anything. People are calling them and telling them. And a lot of those times, teams are leaking the situation. Teams are leaking that information out. It's like if you know any firemen, it's like a controlled fire. If a fire is blowing out of control, what they do is they get in front of it and burn the stuff in front of it, so you don't have no more fuel to burn, and they try to back the fire up like that. So you got to burn a little bit, so you got to destroy a little bit to save a lot. That's the purpose of it. So a lot of times teams will leak stuff, and they got specific people, whether they got burner phones or not, to leak that stuff. So it's not like Adam Schefter has, level 1 clearance or anything like that. They've got people on payrolls, and that's their job, to leak information or leave some obvious breadcrumbs somewhere so people like Schefter and Ian Rappaport can find them. And that's how they making their living. That's exactly how they making their living. So you can't hate on them, but it's not like, at the end of the day, they're guessing. They're guessing. Oh, are you serious? Come on, man. You got to be kidding. Hold on, man. Let me look. Let me look on my other screen here. Got to be kidding me, man. Joel Embiid. All right. I see the Sixers got fined. ESPN is saying he's supposed to have his knee evaluated. Sixers got fined $75,000. Yeah, it says evaluated. I don't see. It says Adrian Wojciechowski says Sixers star Joel Embiid is out for Thursday's game versus Utah and will receive further evaluation on his left knee in the next 24 hours. So I don't see anything. Hold on. That was a day ago. Yep. Who was this? This is 38 minutes ago. This is on Twitter. Shams Charania? I don't know him. Hold on, let me get you in. Second monitor. There we go. Yep. Joel Embiid has suffered a torn meniscus in his left knee. Team officials say, daggone it. Lord have mercy. We can't have nice things around here. We can't have nice things. You know what, though? That gets me into what I was saying about social media. Because all of that talk, everybody jumped on Joel Embiid was trending yesterday because people get mad when he doesn't play. And it's like, who cares? This whole season doesn't matter. Yes, he was playing at an MVP level, finally. He was playing as the clear-cut MVP. Last year, it could have went either way. There were arguments for both sides, and I get it. That was legit. They gave it to him. Okay, I can see that going either way. But I'm cool with what they decided. But this year, there was no question. If he'd have stayed on the court, he'd have been the back-to-back MVP without question. But even with that, the way things went last year, wasn't nobody caring until we got to the playoffs, until we got past the second round of the playoffs. That's the only thing that was going to matter, MVP or not. So finally, it looked like he got it in his head. He was going to be who he was supposed to be. And now he hurt. And I don't know if the Sixers were listening to all the noise on social media about him not playing, and you got to show up to go up against Luka and all of that kind of stuff, man. And they put him out there when they shouldn't have put him out there, and everybody got their wish, and you see what happened. Now you know why he sits so much. So everybody that was bitching that he don't play enough and he don't go against the big man and all of the other nonsense is a reason why they do the managed games. Everybody hates to hear it, but there's a reason why they do that. That's the reason. You got to do load management nowadays. Doesn't matter if you in football, basketball, baseball, whatever sport you play, load management is in. These kids nowadays are groomed into that. And you know what? quite honestly, they don't make them like they used to. They ain't made like when I played. They ain't made like when Seth played. They ain't even Embiid ain't made like when Iverson played and Kobe was playing. They ain't built like that no more. And this is what you get. That's why Joel Embiid is getting hurt mid-season. That's why the Eagles go into the season and we can't tackle to save our lives. Dang. Unite is not social media. It is Philly media. I agree 100%. Yeah, I agree 100%. Lord Beerus. Lord Beerus, if you're gonna be Lord Beerus, man, you can't have a football. You gotta have some Dragon Ball up in there, bro. David Gates, I don't like when athletes' families are putting bad mojo out there. Yo, dude, great point. Because man, when you saw all of that stuff from CeeDee Lamb's mom, and I'm like, anytime parents get involved on social media, that is bad for business. That is not good at all, because you already know when it comes to social media, people have they have no filter. And the last thing you want is you worrying about who cussing your mother out or cussing your wife out on social media, because you know what's going to happen. Somebody going to say something off, out of pocket, and call somebody out of name, and it's going to be hell to pay. But you can't get to them. So the only thing you can do is be mad. And these parents are out here, OBJ's dad got away with it when he was in Cleveland, because at least he was smart about it. He gave you receipts and showed you tape. At least he was smart about it. But normally that does not go well. That does not go well. Look at Lamar Jackson as an example. Because Lamar Jackson's mom was catching major hell on social media when she was negotiating his contract. Because I was even like, yo, Lamar, man, just get an agent, sign a deal so you can get in there. But you know what? He stuck to his guns, and props to him. And props to his mom for being capable enough to get the job done, because you can't say that about everybody. Everybody can't be a lawyer or work a deal. I know people think they can, but sometimes you need somebody to speak that legalese. But anytime your parents get on social media, it's not going to end well for you, because you have no recourse. There's nothing that you can do. What, you going to go back the whole sticks and stones thing? Because that's essentially what you're being dumbed down to. You talking. You ain't nobody ever going to show up to a game and confront you face to face. Ain't nobody going to, throw hands with you. So when parents do that, especially moms, you setting yourself up. You setting yourself up. And then, and the one thing you got to realize with social media now, especially with, you got these guys that come from, different backgrounds, and maybe moms and dads was doing some different things before you started playing ball. And people are petty, and they will go back and bring up some dirt quick. So you saw what happened last year with Pat Mahomes' little brother. They had to squash that quick, and his wife. They had to squash that noise quick, especially when you the leader of the team and you've been to a Super Bowl and you one of the faces of the NFL, and your brother acting like an idiot, and your wife is in the stands throwing drinks and whatnot. However it turned out, his brother stepping on the memorial to Sean Taylor in DC. Your family can get you in trouble. So when all of these parents think they doing something, the only thing you're doing is messing with the money. You saw what a little bit different situation, but you saw all of that stuff with Kadarius Toney. What like, dude, your team is going to the Super Bowl. Shut up, get your ring, and then when they get you off the team, then you can talk your talk. You messing with money, bro. You messing with money. You putting the blacklist on your own name. So, yeah, I saw that, Chris. Yeah, meniscus issues. Ugh, I'll tell you what, man. Yeah, I know he was, man. It just, and I just bought in. I just put my money on the counter for the Sixers because I did not. The first Sixers game I watched from start to finish was when he went for 70. That was the first Sixers game I watched. I was seeing highlights. I would watch a quarter here, quarter there. That was the first complete game I watched. I turned that game on. It was 2-3. And then I watched Joel do his thing. And I was like, daggone it. He had a torn meniscus. So I don't know. I'm sure there'll be more news about how bad it is, but it's like, daggone it, man. We just cannot have nice things, man. Damn. Ugh, that makes me mad. So you think the NBA, you think they're gonna shorten that? It's too much money to be made. Too much money. And I'm always wondering, man, with all of the flopping and the fouls they call it, like the NBA has gone the way of the NFL. They doing everything to protect the players. In NFL, you can't tackle anybody. If you look at a quarterback wrong, they're gonna throw a flag on you. Now with the NBA, everybody's flopping. They don't punish anybody like they used. Like the stuff that Draymond is doing, man. You go back in the mid '80s and you watch Detroit. The boys didn't play. You go down the middle with Lane Beer, man. He was gonna clock you right in the eye. And you know what? If he did clock you, you got up and y'all were banging. It was no joke back then, man. And most of them guys played the whole season. That's the funny part with all of this technology, fitness, nutrition, all this information and technology we have now, all the knowledge that we have now. And we can't, and it's harder and harder for these guys to stay healthy. And you know what? Shout out to LeBron James. Because having said all of that, LeBron James is one of the ones that is always playing, and at his age, playing the minutes that he's playing is off the chain. Whether you like him or not, that's a whole nother argument. But you can't argue with the fact that LeBron James is on the court. He might miss a game here or there, but he's on the court. Oh my God. Pat's dad can't stand Britney. Well, I saw the picture he took a picture with Taylor Swift. So maybe he just don't like Britney. But you know, it is what it is. As long as they stay off of social media and doing stupid stuff. You know, they finally got a hold of Jackson Mahomes. I'm curious as to is that case still pending with what he did with the girl at the restaurant? Because you know it's only going to take one thing and somebody going to bring that back up. So, oh my God, dude, we was talking about that the other day, and I think they were talking about that on Vetted on Doc Talk. Like what? Like how many penalties would these guys get if they played today? They couldn't play. Brian Dawkins would not be the same player if he had to go by these rules. They pretty much, like I hope they put Devin Hester in the Hall of Fame because the art of being a returner is gone. Because you could be a two-way player, much like Dion did it. Kick return, punt return, and you're gonna play DB or receiver or slot receiver, however they got to do it. If you had speed, they would find a way to use you. And now they pretty much neutered kick returns. Nobody returns kicks no more. And that was a way you could make a roster spot back in the day. And now you can't no more. It's a useless skill. Punt return is still, you can still do some stuff, but kick return is just if they want to keep scoring up, have them kick off at the 20. So you can force a punt return. I mean a kick return. But just having that aspect of the game gone, it's a shame. It's a daggone shame. So, yeah, man, it's crazy. So I guess we'll find out who's going to take over for Carl Scott, and we'll find out what's going on with Joel Embiid. Man, we can't have nice things in Philadelphia, can we? But all right, man, I'm gonna get up out of here. Shams deleted Joel's injury tweet. Did he? Let me try to refresh. This page doesn't exist. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Come on, man. This is ridiculous. Oh my gosh. Are they doing Pro Bowl games now? Pro Bowl is so, we didn't even talk about that. Pro Bowl is so, what is Jalen Hurts doing? He's precision passing. Jalen Hurts is missing everything. Oh my God. See, oh my God. I can't watch it no more. Can't watch it. Pro Bowl is not the Pro Bowl. They don't play. They don't do anything. I'm out of here. Gotta get out of here. This is horrible. So, but all right. Thank you guys for joining me. And I'll see you guys next week. We're going to have some more news. It'll be something else. All right. It'll be more Senior Bowl stuff or whatever. But thank you for joining me. I will be back next week, back on the mothership. Next week, bring a friend. If you have not subscribed to A2D Radio, please do. Click on that notification bell. I don't know why you playing around, man. Stop messing around. I will see you guys next week. Appreciate you. I'm out.